Pearl City is a historic African-American neighborhood. It is the oldest community in Boca Raton and in fact predates the city. It still exists today in a small enclave within Boca Raton. June Goddard and George Spain grew up in Pearl City.
It started out as farmers. Our people started out as farmers. And what they would do when it was farming season, they would come from the different areas from Georgia, Delray, Deerfield, and they would farm the land. And when the season was over, they would go back. So the guy that owned the farms, he made a decision to buy the land and sell lots to the people in Pearl City. That way they could build homes and not commute back and forth to Georgia, Deerfield, Delray, wherever they came from. So that's how the whole Pearl City started out with the farming community, with our family who are founders and other founders farming the land.
And what were they farming? What do you know?
Beans.
Okra.
Just about everything out there, you know. Once they were farming, I saw pineapples, you know, so it was just lots of beans. I know our family talked about beans, you know, picking beans.
Can you describe what kind of a day they would have had?
Yeah, I would think that they got up early in the morning, you know, when the sun rose in the morning, and did their regular chores and fed their family. Then they go to work, and then they work late in the evening. And they didn't stop until the work was done. And farming, from what I understand, was seasonal. So the work wasn't always there. When the season wasn't there, it was season. So they had to become creative and think of other ways to make money. And I heard some relatives made moonshine, you know, and sold moonshine, you know, and my granddaddy raised pigs and sold pigs. So they did what they had to do to survive.
Who was your grandfather?
Alex Hughes.
Alex Hughes.
Yes.
And how would you describe his contribution to Pearl City?
I was very young when he passed, but the time that I can remember, and I remember stories of, you know, the elderly people telling me about him, how he was instrumental in you know, getting the lots for people to buy homes, you know, buy the lots and then build homes. He was instrumental in that, and also he was instrumental in getting the land for the churches that, you know, Macedonia and Ebenezer, and he was instrumental in that, and also in establishing a school in Pearl City. So those are some things that I can refer back in my memory that he had contributed to.
Did he feel as a black man that he was well treated in Boca?
I've never heard him say anything opposite of that. He was able to communicate and deal with both sides, you know, with white and black. And I never heard him say anything about someone mistreating him.
My granddad and my family, they purchased lots. And my uncle it was a community. Like I said, my uncle owned apartment buildings, the only gas station in Pearl City. There were little stores. And right there in Pearl City, is still there today, is a segregated wall. That wall represents, you stop right here and you cannot build beyond this wall. And that wall is the only wall that's still standing in the state of Florida. I think there's still a piece of wall in Miami. That wall is telling us you cannot go beyond this wall and buy any other property. So we were limited to what we can and cannot buy in Pearl City. I mean, that's saying volumes right there. It's like, okay, because of the color of your skin, because you're black, you cannot buy any more property in Boca Raton.
Your earliest memory of the community, your grandfather?
It would be me and my grandfather on our days off from school. He would take me down. He used to have a nursery right downtown Boca, and he used to raise lilies. And on my days off from school, I would spend the day with him. And we would go there and we would farm, we would nurture, you know, dig and put the lilies in, and he would sell them. And that was one of my favorite times. I would spend time with my grandfather, and even like before we would go, he would always brew him a cup of coffee, and he would always spill a little bit over into the saucer and then hand that to me. and I can reflect back on that.
Mr. Hills, he's such a gentle soul. Such a gentle soul. He was head of our Sunday school. He went to Macedonia AME Church, and he was the treasurer and everything. Just soft spoken, just a loving man. And if he was angry, you didn't know it. You never knew it. He was just a gentle soul, and he was generous. Every now and then he would hand me a dime or a nickel, and that was a lot back then. But he was just a really loving soul. And then in the park after him.
Yes.
So yes,
it was a family. It was literally a family that we would all join together. And if anyone needed anything, you could go next door to your neighbor.
That's right. A cup of sugar, a cup of flour.
Whatever
right?
you needed.
Yeah.
Yes. From 15 Terrace back to 10th Street, and you would see there was Willie White, there was Dolphins, there was the Sandry, there was the pool room, there was Eddie B.
Yeah, Eddie B. Alton.
Jimmy Goddard, and so there was about 7 or 8 different businesses, right, within the community, and so all of that has been lost, and I think that's one of the things that has happened with Pearl City, that I don't think there's one black-owned business in Pearl City now. There's not. Well, I know it's not.
No.
So what's in the place of them?
Well, you got apartments, but that has been bought from an investor. The investors has pretty much bought all of the
flag shop.
The flag shop. Everything along the front, along Dixie Highway has been purchased by investors. Over time, it has lost this closeness because, I think over time, you have a lot of people moving out and people moving in that don't share in the same values that you share in. And so it kind of lost that. It lost the closeness, the support. It used to ride around, you could ride down the street and every house who lived there, all of their kids, their grandmother, all that. Now you ride through and you very rarely know anyone that, from the past.
Well, why did people leave?
I think it could be the lack of opportunities. Lack of opportunities. They felt like they couldn't advance here in Pearl City, and so a lot of people branched out and they moved to different places and laid their stakes for their own family. They figured bigger and better opportunities elsewhere.
People left, yes, people died off or whatever the case may be, and there's some of us that left and we came back. I think of the young lady that was next door to us. She left and went to the Marines for 35 years, but she came back. And there's others like myself, I came back. So people, we leave, go to college. Like my brothers went off to the service, but they never did come back, So they leave for different reasons. And like I say, some of us are coming back. It's like, this is home, we're going to come back and stay in this home, make it bigger, make it larger, renovate it, gut it out or whatever. But we're coming back home, most of us are.
The house that your father owned, do you still own it?
Yes, that was the first house of many houses that my dad built. My dad actually built that house. He built several other houses in Pearl City. So that was the first one that he built. He built that one in 1959. So, and Daddy had a model when he built houses. He liked to build them mortgage free because he doesn't like to owe any man any money, So, but that was the first house that he built, and the house is still there today.
So you're still in the same house?
Yes, sir. I moved back to the house I grew up in. The house is strong. It's built really well.
Yes.
So it's not going anywhere. But yes.
Today, what do you think your grandfather would be most proud of?
Today, I think he would be most proud of that Pearl City has endured the test of time, with a lot of investors and, want to come in and trying to buy out Pearl City. And for Pearl City to still be standing as a community. The churches are still there, something that is vital for a community, that the churches that was planning, I think he understood the importance of having a spiritual foundation.
I'm not sure if they'll be happy with the changes or not, to be honest with you, but a lot of changes have happened since then. When growing up, it was all black community. So now it's Hispanics there. There are Haitians there. There are Caucasians there, so there are different races of people there. There are different cultures of people. And we didn't experience that growing up, so it changed a lot. Even moving back to Pearl City in 2010, it's like looking around and it's a lot of memories. I remember so-and-so used to live there, or Uncle Jimmy, the gas station. So a lot of changes, has happened. We're not happy that the investors are coming there and it's just, buying it up, and then now it becomes rental property. And the people that live there, that's their home, but they don't know about the rich history of Pearl City. And I can say even myself, I appreciate it more as an adult than when I was a child. It's just like, wow, we had all of this, or we have all of this, and we didn't know we were sitting on a gold mine. But now we know that, and we need to do what we can to preserve it as much as possible and protect it. It's no longer a village. It's not the community that we know, because I really can't tell you that I know all of my neighbors. But growing up, you knew everyone in that neighborhood. Yes. But it's no longer a close-knit community. It's just like...
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Does that bother you?
No. I wouldn't say it bothers me, but... And people are living there because that's their home, but they don't know the richness of the historical side of it.
Do you consider both of yourself founding families?
Yes.
Yes.
What does that mean to you, though?
It means that our forefathers settled in, and they had the vision that Pearl City will one day be a place where families could grow up, that we can worship, and that we could build families, we can build lives, we can build jobs, businesses.
And what does that mean to you, being a founding member?
Well, there's a sense of pride, because my mom's side originally migrated from the Bahamas. So they came here as farmers to pick oranges and everything. But it's just like knowing that they came and they survived. They were survivors. They worked hard. They were hard-working people. I tried picking beans one time, and that's all it took was that one time I got a revelation.
Yeah.
No more. I'll go to the store and buy beans. But they were hard-working people that came here and farmed the land. They farmed the land, and they built this community, and they worship on Sundays. They had get-togethers. They had cookouts. They came together, and they were there for one another. So for me, it gives me a sense of pride to know that I'm connected.
Yes.
I'm connected to Pearl City. Pearl City is in me. I'm part of Pearl City. And so it's just like, wow, they made it happen regardless of their culture, their skin color. They did what they had to do to make it happen. And they left a legacy for us. And I'm just hoping that, we continue that legacy.
Yes.
And to know that they established in 1915, and they established before the city of Boca Raton itself, so it's just a sense of pride to know, like, hey, they did this. I shouldn't have any excuses. I should not have not one excuse. So they did it. They kept it together, and all the challenges that they had to face, and it just, I'm grateful for them.
Yes.
I'm really grateful. We're not happy that the investors are coming there, and it's just, buying it up, and then now it becomes rental property. And the people that live there, that's their home, but they don't know about the rich history of Pearl City.
Our forefathers settled in, and they had the vision that Pearl City will one day be a place where families could grow up, that we can worship, and that we could build families, we can build lives, we can build jobs, businesses.